Howdy guys, this is CoreCat13. I'm a woman with a deep voice, and we are back with more Demon Turf. Last time, we had a pretty damn long level, and I just kind of talked about Thousand Year Door remake, because what is there to talk about in a giant labyrinth? It's not really, well, it wasn't a very exciting stage, it was just kind of there. Although, I think things are about to get slightly more exciting because this is the boss battle episode. Yeah, buddy. Oh boy, I have thoughts about that boss fight, let me tell you. But first, we have one more stage. And it's, yeah, it's here. Yeah, I gotta say, out of, like, all the stages in World 4, this is probably one of the most there stages. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the stages here in World 4 either were frustrating or were just kind of here. Honestly, I don't mind this stage at all. In fact, I really like these kind of climbing stages. I think these... I honestly wish there were a few more of these in World 4, rather than whatever the fuck the last video was. Like, the last one wasn't that bad. It was just kind of there, but... honestly, this feels way more like we're in a mountainous environment. It feels a bit more on brand, if that makes any sense. I like these houses. These houses are real nice. Honestly, I'd sleep here. I ain't gonna lie. Man, look at that skybox. All those clouds, man. Just feels so serene. Why'd you have to ruin the serenity there, asshole? I mean, come on. Look at these robots. They don't know. These assholes don't know. Also, yeah, I'm gonna just say a forward apology for, like, the weird pixelation in this episode. I don't know why, but for some reason this episode was just particularly bad when it came to, like, pixelization or whatever. Where the graphics just kind of... I don't know if it's, like, an issue with my capture card or anything, but it's not super intrusive, but I figured I'd bring it up in case somebody, like, hey, what the hell's going on here? Yeah, anyway. This is funny. Killed by their own trap. I love that. It's about as bad as Bowser putting the fucking axe at the end of his freaking lair in Super Mario Brothers, let me tell ya. I'm kind of surprised it took Nintendo Capri Sun so long to get Super Mario Brothers. Like, seriously, I mean, the guy's been doing Let's Plays for over 15 years at this point, and he didn't do Super Mario Brothers until last year, which I find very fascinating. Which, I'm not mad about it, it's just kind of like, wow, yeah, it really has been this long. I'd honestly kind of, like, given up hope that he was going to do Super Mario Brothers. But not only did he do Super Mario Brothers, he did the Lost Levels too. Oh god, that was a fiasco. Oh my god. Tim playing freaking Lost Levels. Oh, poor bastard. Yeah, trust me, that's a game you guys are not ever gonna see me play unless I'm, like, doing a, like, spotlight type thing. Where I'm just, like, trying it out or whatever, and just be like, well, you guys asked for it, here it is. Which, honestly, I have been, like, giving it thought to just, like, little smaller experiences where it's just, like, I'll give the game a try to see if it's interesting, but I won't, like, beat it. I might do, like, the first couple of hours or just kind of see how far I get. Maybe I'll do it, like, as a live stream type thing. I don't know. I haven't really decided yet. It would certainly be something. I don't know. I need to get, like, some very specific games if I'm ever going to do that, because I had this one series I used to do, which I think I talked about it like a while ago, but one of my first like attempts at gaming was through use of emulators, and was called Spring Break Gaming, where I would, or not Spring Break Gaming, Crappy Day Tuesdays, that's what it was called, where I would choose a crappy video game of some degree of notoriety, and then just kind of see how far I would get. Which, to be honest, I still like this idea, where I just kind of pick a game that not many people really like, and then just kind of see how far I can get in it. I do own one of the games that I know for a fact would definitely be on that list, Superman 64, which I've never played Superman 64. It's, I've heard some very not good things about it, so I think it'd be a pretty interesting live stream if I ever do attempt it. Which, I don't know if I would ever do it, but it'd be an idea. There are some games that I already know are on the list. Less Truly Unlikely would probably be the first one I do. Just simply because I find Lester to be such a stupid game that I find oddly hilarious. Just the idea of this loser being the protagonist of a video game is honestly kind of fun. It's honestly, in my opinion, like one of the first real troll games where you're playing as this douchebag who honestly really shouldn't be the protagonist, and you're kind of wondering how the fuck he survived. And he disobeys you when he encounters new enemies or just does random things like humps the air and all that. Oh my god, there is so much about that game I could get into, but I want to get like an actual copy of the game. That way I can actually play it on like authentic hardware, or if not, I don't know, maybe have my friend mod my Super Nintendo Classic and sneak that game on there somehow. I don't know, like I have a few options. I know one of them would be Bubsy. Bubsy 1 and Bubsy 2 are on the list. And, oh god. I do not like Bubsy. Bubsy is like one of the very few things in gaming that, like, legitimately pisses me off. I hate Bubsy just so much. I mean, I've softened on Bubsy a little bit, but oh god, I don't understand how he exists or why he came back. He's just anyway. Although, speaking of Bubsy, I already know Bubsy 3D is on that list, and I'm dreading that revisit. Because I have actually played Bubsy 3D, unfortunately, because for some ungodly reason, my friend Oscar, who you guys got to listen to in Banjo-Kazooie, he has that game, and he somehow convinced me to play it. So, at least there's that. I can always just, like, borrow the copy from him. And then just kind of, like, show you just, in my opinion, the absolute lowest point in 3D platforming. It's just, oh god, Bubsy is so bad. It is just so bad. It physically hurts me knowing it exists. Which, I understand, like, why Bubsy is the way it is. It was an early 3D platformer. So they didn't really know anything, and they didn't really get anyone that knew anything about platforming. So, yeah. Honestly, I don't blame them for making the game as bad as it is, but anywho. Yeah, so, I don't know. I might actually leave a poll on my channel and see if you guys would be curious about this idea coming back, but in a more relaxed live stream like format. I don't know. Anyway, now this stage. Oh, yay, this stage, where the pixelation is at its worst. Oh, where do I begin with this level? Oh my god, I hate this level so much. Oh my god. Well, this was the moment where I realized I didn't have my, the cutscenes turned back on. So, pretty much everything in this level caught me off guard. Because, you know, I thought that I had the, cutscenes turned on, so I thought it was going to be like, hey, guess what? You have this power, and this is the boss you're about to encounter. But, no. Not at all. And no, I for some reason don't turn it back on in this video. I think I do turn it back on before the final boss, but for some reason I didn't think to turn it back on with this one, because I think I was just too stunned that all of this was happening. Because honestly, this is a pretty different boss level, because in case you guys don't remember, the levels before this one, that were like boss levels or whatever, they were boss levels. They had like short little platforming sections before the boss, and then it was just like trying to catch up to the boss. Like with a Frito, you would use the hook shot to try to get away from his attacks and get to the next platform so you can move on to the next phase. With the crab dude, whose name escapes me at the moment, you would need to use the wheel in order to catch up to him. That right there, I think, was one of the parts where I was like, wait, what the fuck happened? But anyway, with the owls or whatever, you had to use the bird in order to catch up, once again, to get to their arena, because they would always move away. This one's very different. This is basically like 2/3 or something like that, a platforming challenge. And it's a pretty damn hard one too. Because I'm gonna let you guys in on something. The majority of the editing in this video was set here. I had to remove, I think, a good like 15 minutes out of the video. Or something like that, I'm not really sure. Actually, scratch that, it was more like a good 10 minutes of video. But yeah, the majority of it was here. It was me just constantly failing because I could not figure out this new power. Which honestly, I think is a pretty damn lame one, if you ask me. Like, this is probably by far my least favorite, just simply with how it works. Like, it works kind of sort of similarly to how your punch attack works, but instead of like the back trigger or whatever, you use like the top shoulder button. And I kept forgetting that for some reason, so I think some of the deaths that I cut out were partially because of that. But also, yeah, the time slow ability is a mite inaccurate. It is very tricky to aim for some reason. Like, this is not like Psychonauts 2 or A Hat in Time, which, well, okay, actually, I think it's a little bit more like Psychonauts 2 if you played that game. Where, I forget exactly what the, power is called, but in that game, you have the ability to like slow your perception of time, making it a bit easier for you to platform. And it was honestly a pretty easy ability to like aim or whatever, because it would affect a big area. Not this game. As you saw there, you need to charge it up and then fire it out in a very particular way, and if you are not 100% accurate, it's going off course and you're not hitting your target. And I don't like this power. I really don't. I think this power is called Timeout, and I don't understand why this is here. Like, the majority of the additional moves you got were movement options. They, like, allowed you to travel around the arenas and levels in different ways. Like, the hook shot allowed you to get to higher ground by using the little hook areas. The peel out, or whatever it's called, the wheel ability, allowed you to move at high speeds on the ground. Let me think. The bird, that's what it's called. I almost forgot about the bird, because, you know, the bird, the bird is the word. Anyway. The bird allows you to glide and catch air gusts much easier in order to travel long horizontal distances in the air. All these things have one thing in common. They're all movement options. Like I said. This is not that. This, I'm not entirely sure what you would call this. An attack, kinda? Like, it definitely manipulates the environment a little bit, but not in a very interesting way. Honestly, if you want my opinion on what would have been a more interesting powers, considering that this is a mountain-themed world, why not give her, like, I don't know, like Billy Goat horns where she can dash forward. That way she can go, like, short distances in the air and do more damage or whatever. Kind of like Corn Kid 64 in a weird way. If you guys have at least seen something like that, the lead character has the ability to dash forward in the air, kind of like a homing attack, using his horns. And honestly, look at the pigtails there on Beebs. And considering the fact that she's a demon, why doesn't she have a horn attack? Like, seriously, she could have been like a little battering ram, and that would have made things a bit more interesting. Like, perhaps there are, like, little things that you can't damage without using the horns. Like, maybe it could double as a ground pound or something. Because, weirdly enough, she doesn't have a ground pound move. And I think this would have been a very interesting 2-in-1 solution, where it's both a dash move in the air, but also it doubles as a ground pound move, where you can do some substantial damage to, like, stone structures and stuff. Which, granted, you wouldn't get a whole lot of use out of it, but I don't know, I think it could have been pretty interesting. Like, maybe you could also sequence it in, like, with your wall jump or something, and then, like, you can just continuously ram into the wall and then just kind of climb that way. Or maybe, like, you could use, like, those sticky platformers or whatever, and using the horns or whatever, it would act kind of like the trampoline things put on the sides, so you can just bounce off of them and then jump to the next thing. I don't know, just something like that I think would have been a bit more interesting than a time slow ability. Which, to be honest, why is this like a common thing in especially indie 3D platformers? Like, it just feels like, oh, we need like one last move. Why not control time for some reason? Which, I'm not gonna lie, I don't hate time manipulation abilities. I think that's interesting. But considering this is a very movement-focused game, I would have preferred like all of her moves that she got with each boss were movement-focused, instead of like 3 being movement-focused and 1 just being like, I don't know, manipulation over time and limited spaces. I don't know. It's dumb. I really, really do not like this power. Especially in practice. It just, ugh. Trust me, we'll get into more of my pet peeves with this fucking ability whenever we get into the next video, but anywho. Now that I got that out of the... Ugh. Almost had a hiccup there. Now that we got that out of my system, now I can talk about this this wonderful boss that we have here. I'm guessing like the guy on the left, that's Goal, and The female robot on the right is Lem, which yeah, I did not know who these two were, like, at all. Nor did I really understand why they were here. Like, again, the previous three bosses, again, heavily focused on your movement and all that, trying to dodge them. This one confuses me on so many levels. First of all, they're a 3D model, which none of the bosses before were 3D models. They were 2D sprites just like us, which makes them stand out even more. Which, honestly, when I first saw them, I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? These fucking Fracktail gobble gut wannabes. Honestly, I think they're a lot more like Fracktail, to be honest. But yeah, and honestly, the way they behave and stuff is, again, very different from the other bosses. It's just, I don't like this fight at all. At least they were easy. Honestly, I think I had probably less issues with the boss there than I did with the level itself. Also, name drop. I guess I did actually reactivate cutscenes in this video. Sorry, me. And now, extreme spin! The way they talk is kind of like how, like, two kids talk about, like, a boss they were fighting in a video game. That's pretty cool. What the hell do you want, Lucy? You here to apologize with your old tall ass? You better be. Are you going to admit your love for the Beebs? Well, you ruined your chance. Good day to you, madam.
That's what I wanted to talk about.
You ain't gonna talk me out of it.
Guess your Mimian is there before I give me a butt kicking.
Love that line.
I guess. Yeah, okay. See you later.
Yeah, it's the nicest she's been all game. I'll give her that. Also, I just noticed this weird detail. For some reason, the character models have weird little arrows for where they're looking. This confuses me. Game devs, please give an explanation for this. But anywho, that was the last boss before the big finale. So, next time on Let's Play Demon Turf. I guess we're going to this level. I didn't plan to do this, but it will prove very valuable. We'll see why later. See you guys later. Bye. Meow.